Today marks 25 years since the Halloween storm of 1991 made landfall near Halifax, Nova Scotia, ending a bizarre series of events that became the storyline for a best-selling book and a Hollywood movie of the same name, The Perfect Storm. And there's even a Penn State connection. Now, on October 28th, 1991, a low-pressure system developed along a front southeast of Nova Scotia and deepened rapidly. Not that unusual this time of year in that part of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, a hurricane named Grace was about 700 miles to the south. And 24 hours later, the hurricane's moisture and energy was pooled into the circulation of the still intensifying storm. The large pressure difference between the low and a high over eastern Canada created strong northeast winds with a long fetch over water, sending huge waves to the coast. By this time, the fishing vessel immortalized in the perfect storm, named the Andrea Gale, had already made its last known radio contact from just south of Newfoundland, reporting winds of 90 miles per hour. Now, the storm actually didn't reach peak intensity until a day later and didn't move in a typical way, instead backing west towards the coast. By Halloween, its center was about 250 miles offshore, and a buoy east of Cape Cod reported a significant wave height just shy of 40 feet. That's the average height of the biggest third of the waves. On land, winds reached hurricane force at Cape Cod and nearly so at Newport, Rhode Island. But most of the impact on land was from heavy surf and coastal flooding, not wind. In Maine, the storm damaged the vacation home of then-President George H.W. Bush, while in Massachusetts, hundreds of homes were damaged or destroyed, and property loss was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The storm had one more strange twist left. Now over the Gulf Stream, with water temperatures near 80, thunderstorms formed in bands near its center. By the wee hours of November 1st, it had become a tropical storm, and 12 hours later, aircraft recon confirmed it had strengthened to a hurricane. The storm actually completed a counterclockwise loop, recrossed its path, and raced northeast, weakening a bit before making landfall in Nova Scotia on November 2nd as a tropical storm. It was never named because officials feared that would cause confusion, given that it was now only a problem at sea and the news media was still focused on the damage already done along the coast. The storm was just called the Halloween storm of 1991 until author Sebastian Junger spoke to Bob Case, a Penn State meteorology alum who was in charge of the National Weather Service's Boston office at the time. Case's description of the unusual, nearly perfect circumstances that produced the very strong storm inspired the title of Junger's nonfiction book in 1997. The movie version of The Perfect Storm was released 3 years later, and it differs in many ways from the book and claims only to be based on a true story, to some extent a victim of Hollywood hype. Stay with us. The extended forecast is next.